Good afternoon, everybody. Just bear with us maybe for a couple of minutes whilst we let registered participants join. Thank you for joining on time, but we'll give it a couple of minutes just to allow all to join before we start. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to September's Institute webinar. I think it's a few weeks, given the school and the summer holidays here in the UK, since we've run the last IFA monthly webinar. I believe that was middle of July, around a practical guide to succession planning. So a warm welcome back to everybody to the Institute's monthly webinar. I hope you enjoy the session this afternoon. I know it's an insightful, it's a relevant, and it's an extremely topical one, so do enjoy. Can I maybe just run through the usual housekeeping? If there are any technical issues, and I really hope there aren't, but if there are any technical issues, we in the background will look to resolve those as effectively and as efficiently as possible. Having done a number of these over the last few years, one of the things I've found is that it could be something at your end, internet connectivity, Wi-Fi, etc. So firstly, if you're experiencing any sound or visual issues, take a look at your Wi-Fi and connectivity. Hopefully that will resolve matters. If we do have a problem, as I say, we will look to resolve it as effectively and as efficiently as possible. It's great to see a number of you are already using the chat box. Fantastic. So these sessions come to life not only through our guest speakers, but also through your questions, your observations, your experiences. What is it that you want to know around a particular subject that we're covering this afternoon? Please use the chat and the Q&A facilities to ask those questions, to share those observations, any comments and experiences. It really brings it to life. And I've had feedback over the years from speakers. It also helps them because it brings it to life as well for them. So please, the chat box and the Q&A facility, as I say, a number of you already posted good afternoon, hi, or whatever in the chat box. So that's something I would encourage, I would implore, and I would ask everybody to take part and do. The session this afternoon, Mike, our speaker, he's going to split his session into probably 3 sessions. Each session will be 10 to 15 minutes in duration. What he intends to do is, as he gets to the end of each session, he'll pause, break, and deal with any questions, comments, and observations. So just to give you a feel and flavour for what we're going to do and how we're going to run today. I get asked this question all the time. Today's webinar will be recorded. So for anybody who needs to know, it will be recorded. And for all of you who attend, we will share a copy of the recording within the next sort of 24, 48 hours. So just to be aware of that. Can I offer a very warm welcome to Mike Roberts from Frama UK. Mike, it's a pleasure to welcome you and have you join us this afternoon, and we thank you for your time and the talk and the presentation you're going to give over the next sort of 3/4 of an hour. Mike will
Thanks.
talk about his background, his passion, the sort of mission that he's on. As it says there, Mike acts as a digital specialist, and he's on a mission to elevate the email security game for accountancy firms. I'll let him talk more about that. Mike works for an organisation called Frama, and the UK arm of Frama. Frama are an international organisation servicing, I think, in excess of 100,000 businesses worldwide. What's pertinent and important probably for this afternoon's session is they're experts within email security, encryption, and e-signature. If I've missed anything, Mike, I apologise, and no doubt you will cover that off. But Mike's got many years' experience in this particular field, and I know he will share his knowledge and his passion with you over the next half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. So, Mike, a very warm welcome and a big thank you from the Institute for taking the time to join us. I will stop sharing my slides and I will hand over to you, but thank you and welcome.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Really pleased to be here. So let's start with just a quick introduction. So hello, everyone. My name is Mike, and I work with accountancy firms to help them secure their emails so that they don't fall under the old data breach conundrum. Get their documents signed electronically, which I know many of you here will already have a portal for that, so it may not be relevant to many of you, but we will focus mainly on the email side. And also, we're going to touch on something that might be quite new, a concept, and we're going to talk about registered email. So thank you to everyone that's joined today. Now, I do offer a service, as you can imagine. I'm not going to make this one long sales pitch, but because I have a solution, it makes sense to take you on a visual journey so I can kind of show you rather than trying to tell you. I'm not going to fill your heads with jargon and tech talk today, so I'm going to make it very, very easy to understand. I'm not techie myself, really. I do try to make things as clear as possible. I don't use PowerPoint presentations, so we're not going to have endless slides today. But what I am going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and we'll stop every 10 to 15 minutes so we can go through some Q&A, which Jonathan can kindly help me with. Thank you very much. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just going to present to you Microsoft Outlook, which I'm sure many of us, or most of us on the session today, are using. So, right, we're all used to using some type of email platform. I'm going to use Outlook today, but whether you use an external CRM or Gmail, don't worry. Everything I'm going to explain to you is relevant to you, whatever email platform you're using. Let's talk about emails and what we're doing at the moment. At the moment, we are creating an email, composing our message, adding any attachments, and pressing send. So this is an unencrypted, unsecure email. If we cast our minds back quite a few years now to the old GDPR thing that came about, data protection became a really hot topic for many, many people. Now, data transfers, making sure that your data is secure, is something that everybody, especially in the legal or financial sector, should now be taking seriously. When I send an email using this normal send button here, the best way that I can describe this is sending a postcard written in pencil. Your email is traveling across the internet, across various different servers, roughly 10 to 12 servers on average. And there are thousands upon thousands of people who are snooping, hackers. These people have access to this information, and they are cherry picking that data to use for fraudulent, what I call Friday afternoon emails and phishing emails. Have you ever received an email that has been a phishing email? It looks like somebody that you recognize. It's got information that you might recognize, and they're asking you to click on links or reply or engage with that email in any way possible. These are known as phishing emails. How do they get that information? Well, quite simply, they're getting that information by grabbing your emails as they travel across cyberspace. So even though that email may have only taken a few seconds to arrive, it's still copied and it's still sat there in these servers until it's gone. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that any snoopers or hackers out there, if they happen to see your email or intercept it in any way, we want to make sure that email is unreadable and cannot be used at all for any fraudulent purposes. So how do we do that? Well, there are many, many email encryption solutions out there. Some of you on the call today may have tried various solutions. And I imagine that there are some of you here today who have tried one of those email encryption solutions. And as you probably can imagine, not everybody encrypts their emails, or very few do, because it can be quite clunky, cumbersome, and awkward for the recipients, and sometimes also the senders as well. Now, what I don't want to do as your client is I don't want to have to click on any suspicious looking links. I don't want to jump into any complicated portals where I have to have passcodes, where I may be timed out. It's just going to be awkward for me. So it's going to be easier for you to just send me an unencrypted email. That's great for the client. However, it's also very, very dangerous, because it's not about if you'll ever have a data breach. It absolutely will be about when it happens. So let me introduce to you a method of email encryption which I show to many of my clients. Now, this is not the only email encryption solution in the world by all means, but it is one that is rather unique, and it integrates into your existing email platform. So this means that we don't need you to change your email address or use a different application or server just to send secure emails. And I'll explain to you how it works in a moment. But what I think I would like to do right now is just show you in real time what this looks like from the sender's point of view and also the recipient's. So I've just created an email here to Sarah. I'm going to use this little red button here, which is a Microsoft Outlook plugin provided by ourselves, Prama. Now, what that allows me to do is it allows me to do a number of things. After we've discussed the email encryption part this morning, I'm going to talk to you about registered email. So we'll come on to that in a moment. But for now, I want to encrypt this email during transmission, which is what GDPR stipulates. It means that GDPR requires you to make sure that any information you are sending on email that is considered personal or sensitive is secure during transmission, which means as it travels across the internet. So what we would do is we would press send and the email goes. So very, very similar to the way that you're doing it now. But the way that I would describe this is you're using a different button. It's as simple as that. Now, what we want to do is we want to make it easy for our clients. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that the client knows who the sender is. So having an encryption service that comes from you rather than a third-party email encryption company is vital. We want them to have that trusted sender confidence. That's number one. Number two, we want the email itself, i.e. the contents and any attachments, to simply appear in our recipient's inbox. We don't want it to be embedded or copied into the cloud somewhere where we make it difficult for them to read it. So having that available, like here, which is what we call unencryption at point of delivery. So once it's landed in the recipient's inbox, it unencrypts itself, which makes it extremely easy for the recipient. Now, we've also got a banner which tells our clients what we have done. We have sent this email registered, which I'll come on to shortly, and fully secure. So now we're giving them the ability to know how we've sent this. But let's just say we also want to ensure that anything coming back to you, back to the accountancy firm from your client, is also safe and secure. Now, you don't have to do this, but it is a very, very nice tool if you provide it. And it means that it's a feature that you can provide to your clients that many others won't. Now, being able to allow your clients to send you back something securely, we provide, and that's inside this banner here. So not only have we sent an encrypted email to Sarah, but let's just say we're asking Sarah for her bank statements or passport copies or something along those lines. Well, inside this banner, we give Sarah the ability to make sure that what she's sending back to us is secure. So first of all, she's going to click on that link to say, yep, I am sending you something back. And actually, I really want it to be secure. You know, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, your clients will not have any email encryption software. But by receiving your email, they will. So Sarah now verifies her email address just so we make sure that it's her. So we can send her a passcode. So Sarah now receives a code so she can grab that, paste it into here. And now what Sarah has is the ability to create a reply, upload as many attachments as she likes, up to 100 megabytes, and send back securely. So that, folks, is how we are helping accountancy firms at the moment ensure that their data is secure, but not only that, but also making it easy for both the sender and the recipients. And like I said before, there's so many applications out there, but if any of you have used these types of things before, you'll know that it can be quite awkward. So hopefully we've created something a bit different there and modern and unique. And this is going to help you understand just how easy it can be to be more compliant with data protection. Right, that's part one. That's email encryption. We're going to go on to registered email in a moment, which is just like going to the post office and sending a special delivery, but electronically. And I think you're going to quite enjoy this because it's quite different and unique. But before we do that, I'll ask Jonathan if we have any questions so far or any comments.
Well, I suppose a question, Mike, how often, and it's not just the accountancy profession, but, you know, accountancy, legal, how often are you seeing practitioners, you know, fall foul of they're sending an email, but when they receive something back, it's not verified and it's actually causing them security problems?
Good question. So in my role here at Frama, I probably receive 3 or 4 inquiries a week, and those inquiries are a mixture of things, but most commonly it's, hi, Mike, remember the conversation we had a year ago? Well, we've now had a data breach. So, you know, the information that we've sent in an email has been compromised, or our emails have been compromised. And usually that's great that they're getting in touch and they're doing something about it. It would just be so great if they would do something before these things happened. So a lot of people I speak to are very reactive, but I think the key here is being proactive. And I know that the GDPR every single day are dealing with law firms, accountancy practices, recruitment firms, where something has gone wrong. And the fine might not be an issue. I know they are issuing fines. I think it's the company reputation and the damage and the reports that they send out. That can be probably the most devastating thing.
Yeah. And are you seeing, you know, the sort of sophistication of the phishing emails? I assume that is increasing and enhancing, improving week by week, month by month, is it?
The phishing emails are now looking ridiculously good. It's very hard to differentiate one from another. But what these hackers are also doing now, which is really clever, is they're pretending to be an email encryption company. So if anyone out there has used something like Proton Mail or Egress or something like that, hackers are now creating email templates that look exactly like an Egress or Proton Mail email. And the thing about these solutions is you have to click on something to read that encrypted email. So those clicks are happening, which is really, really scary. And we've got some huge organizations that have recently fallen foul of that, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. No, thank you. All right, Mike. Thank you. I'll let you continue with your second session.
Brilliant. So there's no questions so far, no?
Nothing to add. No.
Okay, excellent. Right. So taking you on this visual journey, let's just say we've now understood that emails can be encrypted by pressing a different button and having some type of external plugin on our platform, whether it be Outlook or Gmail or whatever it is. This doesn't necessarily help us in terms of understanding if those emails were delivered, if they were opened, and maybe if there ever is the occasion where a data breach, somebody points the finger and accuses of a data breach, which can happen, we want something nice and quick and easy to prove that we sent that email encrypted, something that we can instantly use. And I believe that is the power of moving to registered email. So just quickly going over the send button. If I send this email and I request a read receipt, yes, it's good if the recipient clicks on yes and they approve that read receipt. But let's face it, many of us are saying no. Okay, we can decline that read receipt in Outlook. And the recipient also has to be using Microsoft Outlook in order for that read receipt to even work. And most people nowadays are receiving emails on their phones, on their mobile devices, and the general public, they're not going to be using Outlook. So read receipts, in my opinion, not brilliant at all. So how can we get around that? Well, let's go back to our red button. And what we now want to do is, we're going to send an encrypted email, just like before. But we can also send this as a registered email. It's also known in our world as track and prove. So when I send that email, just like I sent before, remember the email that Sarah received here? Well, how can we know whether that was open, received, secure? The answer lies inside a registered receipt. So what I'm going to show you now is the RMail receipts folder. Many of our clients who use our red button, when they've installed it for the first time, a new folder is created for them. This is where we send you a receipt every time you use that red button. Granted, you will end up with lots of receipts if you're going to be using our service lots, but we don't want it to clutter up your inbox. So they go straight and direct into its own folder, which is really great. So you can find everything you need here. I'm going to show you an example of a registered receipt. So these are all the ones that I've sent over the last few weeks. This one's a great one, actually. So this is one of our clients, Catherine. I sent an email to Catherine using the red button, so I know it was secure, but it was also registered. So within 2 hours, I will always get a registered receipt sent back to me. What I've now got, and which is what I think is so vital for anybody in a regulated industry, is the ability to have proof of where the email was sent to, proof that the email was actually delivered to their email server, proof that it was delivered into that person's inbox, and the all-important proof that it was open.
Mike, can I just interrupt? Yes, somebody's just mentioned, I don't think your screen has changed from the original that you were showing us right back at the beginning of your talk. Is it meant to have changed?
Oh, right. Let me just see if we can do this.
Yeah, we're still seeing that very early one.
So you didn't see me send it using the red button earlier?
No, we've not seen that. No.
Well, let me just see then if I share my screen again.
Yeah.
Let's just see if you can see me swapping between the screens.
Yeah, so that's the first one that you sort of worked around and showed us back at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's the one that's receipt re-franking machine.
And did you see this earlier as well?
No, we didn't see that. No, not.
Okay, so just to recap what I showed you earlier, so you can see what I was doing. I was sending an email to Sarah. I pressed the red button to send it encrypted and registered. So it's an extra mouse click. And what I also showed you was the fact that when Sarah received the email, it was visible. There was no links to click, no awkward passwords, with a nice banner telling our client that it was secure, and a link here so that Sarah can reply encrypted as well. Now, just going back a few seconds, I was explaining to you the power of the registered email facility as well. So not only are we sending it encrypted, but we're sending it registered. It just means that within 2 hours, I get one of these back, which doesn't clutter up my inbox. It goes into its own folder. So I now have proof of where the email was sent, when it was delivered, when it was opened. And just in case the ICO or any professional body should, come knocking at the door asking me to prove that this email was secure, or the fact that I am sending secure emails, inside these receipts, I have a delivery audit trail, which looks ridiculously complex, but in very, very simple terms, that's the journey that my email went on from start to finish, and proof that it was encrypted along the way from start to finish. And so I apologize that it was stuck on the same screen there. But what I'll do is I'll just pause again, Jonathan, and I'll ask if anybody now has any questions about registered email, or even going back to encryption.
I've not got anything at this moment in time in either the chat or the Q&A boxes, Mike. I'm assuming, and thank you for going back and just sort of reworking through those last few slides. I assume that for those listening and watching, what you've presented has made complete sense.
Yeah, and I can go back through that if anyone needs any repeats. But I think if I summarize the last 2 points that I've made, I think, we're on a mission here at Pharma to take people on a digital journey. So I would say the benefits of what I've been saying today is if anybody out there is still heavily using things like a franking machine or DX, maybe you're even still going to the post office and queuing in the post office to send registered and special deliveries. Perhaps now this could be the time where many people in the financial sector can really start thinking about how they can digitize a lot of their communications and correspondence. And
Mike, sorry, Mike, can I come in there? Because I've got a question for you, which is, can we use this on any email, for example, on Gmail?
Yeah, absolutely. So the red button that you saw in my Outlook, that same red button will incorporate into Chrome, into your Google platform. No problem. Gmail.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, digitization. If it means that it's going to be instant for your clients rather than waiting for a 48-hour turnaround, great. So there's a time-saving element there. I also believe that there is an element of ensuring that your practice is ahead of the game in terms of, it's something that you can use in your mission statement or somewhere on your website to say, that all the emails that we send are secure, not just the portals that we use. So, for instance, Iris Open Space and things like that. I know that most of you here have a portal where your clients can approve their tax returns, but still those ad hoc emails that you send throughout the year, especially around the January and April time, you just want to make sure that those, which might not be going into a portal and just to buy a standard email, you've got everything you need to prove compliancy there as well. And if we can save you a lot of money, i.e., what is it nowadays, £4 or £5 to send a special delivery compared to pence on an email, then fantastic. Which brings me on to Unless there's
Sorry,
anything
Mike,
else, Jonathan. Yeah,
can I come in again?
yeah,
Apologies. You mentioned there about sort of future-proofing yourself, and I appreciate, your engagement is with, the full spectrum or size of accountancy practices in the UK. From your sole practitioner, your smaller micro-sized practice, all the way through to your larger regional players. But are you finding, or is the feedback that you're getting from them that they're wanting to future proof themselves, or are they finding that they're being approached by existing or potential clients saying, appreciate you've got the expertise and can provide XYZ services, but we do want some sort of assurance around your data, your security?
yeah. I think the latter is a really, really hot one right now because I'm when I sometimes when I get approached by an accountancy firm, for example, it's not necessarily because they've got the intentions of doing this. It's because now the end clients are actually getting quite savvy about data protection. So if they're receiving something on an email, I think a lot more people nowadays are saying, are replying saying, gosh, I can't believe you sent this on an unsecure email. These contain my financial information, my national insurance details, some quite personal information. So it's definitely a mixture, but I think over the last 12 to 24 months, it's our clients now who are really getting quite savvy about this. So that's a really, really good point, and I hope that answered that question.
No, thanks very much indeed, Mike. Cheers.
Great. I'm not going to spend too long on this next part because I think we're going to be done in about 10 minutes' time, which is really great for more questions. But I do want to just very briefly cover getting documents signed and approved electronically. Like I said before, I know that many of you are using, portals to get things approved, but it is nice to know that there are solutions out there like ours that give you that ability to do this as well. And I'm just going to explain that by showing you a very simple 90-second demonstration, if that's okay. And hopefully, let me know, Jonathan, if you do not see me doing this. So I'm in Outlook. I'm going to attach a file. So what we would do is I would usually go straight into my PC where I've got my documents. And let's go into my sample contracts. And you may have a PDF, you may have a Word document, could even be a spreadsheet, could be anything at all. You're going to attach that to your email, whether it be one attachment or several. We're going to send this encrypted and registered, just like before. But now we also give you the ability to send whatever you've attached in that email for a legal electronic signature. Press send, and off it goes. Right. You should all be able to see my Gmail again, so you can see what Sarah receives. And
yes,
what Sarah...
Sorry,
Good.
just to let you know.
Brilliant, brilliant. So Sarah, just like before, has received an email. It's registered, it's encrypted, but because we chose e-sign, our document has become a PDF. We sent a Word document, remember? And we've embedded a nice big orange button into that email so Sarah knows exactly where to click to view and sign this document. And when she clicks on this, it takes her to, let's just call it a tax return, for example, or whatever it might be, where she can read those pages, page by page if she likes. And when she's ready, she just simply presses next, types in her name. It creates an auto signature, or our clients can draw their own. It's completely up to them. And then they click to sign. Now, when Sarah clicks to sign, as you can see, it's taken her to a landing page. This is a Prama landing page, but don't worry. What we do for all our clients is we ensure that the landing page that your clients go to is completely down to you. You tell us the URL, that's where they're taken. So everything is white labeled and branded for your firm. It's not selling Prama like you can see here. That's simply because I'm using my demo equipment. Right, so what happens next to that document? Okay, so first of all, inside your contracts folder, again, so it doesn't clutter up your inbox, is a signed contract. And what was a PDF a few moments ago is now a PDF. Sorry, it was a Word, now it's a PDF. And three things have happened. Number one, we have a name and a signature and a date on a document. Number two, every page is watermarked and timestamped, so we know the whole agreement has been read and approved. And finally, on the very last page of the document, we attach an e-signature certificate, making this our IDAS compliant, legally bound, court admissible signed agreement. All valid, all approved by things like Adobe and all those things. And it really is that simple. So just a quick apology for me in terms of making this about our product, but because we have something to visually show you, I wanted to kind of give you, take you on a visual story rather than a slideshow making it techy. But secure those emails, make sure you have something so you can easily pull up some proof that it was sent, delivered and opened and secure. And whilst you're at it, you know, let's get streamlined. Let's move away from the old-fashioned things like franking machines if we can. Digitize those processes in the easiest manner possible. Because don't wait until you've had that data breach. I would say start doing this now. You know, it's going to be great for your clients. So I think that's it from me, Jonathan. So I hope that was useful and nice and easy.
No, okay, Mike, thank you very much. And probably a question did come through just as you'd started that sort of final session. So maybe there's a bit of overlap, but I'll read it out. Do you have to click the settings for each individual email, which is rather tedious, or can you set your settings once and every email will then be sent as registered automatically with those settings?
Right. So because we don't provide an unlimited service, not every email you send needs to go via that red button. So your normal send button will still always work. But what you can do, if you wish, and this can all be configured on the first time that you download it, you can actually say, when I click that red button, I don't want the pop-up box to appear. I just want that email to go registered and encrypted without me having to click it. So you can automate the processes and make it even easier for you without more mouse clicks. So I think the answer to that is yes. If you want to do that, it can be done.
Right. Okay, Robert, I hope that answers your question. I believe it does. Right. A couple of comments about this. Looks like an excellent product, which is good feedback for you, Mike, which then has led on to from a number of people wanting to know what's the cost, what's the pricing model for this particular product, please.
So I'll make it really, really easy for everyone. There's two options here. You can either purchase individual licenses. Great if it's just you or a small team, so you can purchase it on individual licenses. Now, depending on volumes, that can be anything from £10 per person per month, and I would say the maximum would be between 10 and £20. But we also do shared plans. So I do speak to a lot of firms that say to me, Mike, we've got 40 people in our firm. Some of us send more emails than the others, and some of us would need your service more than others. So it's a complete mixed team. So what I would say there is you would buy one shared plan. We would give you a huge number of credits, clicks, emails, whatever you want to call it. And your whole team have 12 months to simply dip into that bucket and use that over the year as and when they need it. And I like that because especially during January and April, when I think is going to be everybody's busiest period, because you're going to have busier months than others in the accountancy world. So that might work well. And I would also just say, if anybody wants some free licenses, just let me know. We've got an agreement with the IFA. So if anybody wants this, you get 2 free credits. It's not much, but it's there for you for life. So you can use this without any, without any commitment. Okay. Give it a try. Just get in touch with me and I'll send you your activation link.
Okay, right. Well, you've just beaten me to a point, actually, Mike, which was and I said this right at the beginning, that this session is recorded. We will share a recording with everybody who's joined us this afternoon within the next 24-ish hours. Is there something that you want to send me, Mike, that we could also send with reference to the pricing structure? And then obviously I have your contact details, but your contact details. So A, somebody can listen back again. B, they know exactly what the pricing model structure is. And thirdly, they know how to contact you.
Yep, we'll get something set up, and we'll do something special for the IFA members as well. So we'll put together a very special rate, which we have, but I think we'll update it, especially as we're now approaching 2024.
Right. Okay. I've got a couple of other questions for you, Mike. How many emails can you send in a year for both the free and paid for licenses?
Well, they go up in stages. So single licenses start at 50 a month, all the way up to 1,000 a month. And then the shared plans can be anything from 500 a year to 50,000 a year. So what I would always say to people is start with a nice, comfortable number that you think is good for the team. I think you'll probably surprise yourself. I get a comment all the time saying, we send thousands and thousands of emails a month. Yes, but you'd be surprised at how many of those actually don't need to go fully encrypted. It's one of those things. But the good news is with us, it is a 12-month commitment. However, we can review this after 3, 6, 9 months, look at your usage so that when it comes around to renewal, we're in a comfortable position to look at what your usage has been, so we can go back to the drawing board and make it perfect for the second time around. It's always good to try it on a comfortable number to see whether you need to go up or down on the second renewal.
Okay, lovely. And maybe this next question sort of links to what you've just said. Does an individual who purchases the product have to renew the license fee every year? If so, how much and what is the cost?
Well, it is an auto renewal. So if you do come on board with us, it renews automatically every year, unless you put a cancellation request in, which means that it will just stop working after 12 months and then we can have another conversation. But typically, prices don't really go up every year. I mean, very, very small percentage every now and again, but usually it stays the same.
Okay. Can the respondee avoid replying encrypted?
Yep. They just use their normal reply button instead of the link in the banner.
Right. Okay. Does that include spam emails deleted? Apologies, I'm just reading what's been typed, so I hope that makes sense.
Spam emails deleted. I'm not sure what that means, but
yeah,
it'd be good to understand that better, maybe offline, and I can answer that.
Right. And then I've got a question as well. Is there any storage capacity? Do we need to buy add-ons if storage is full?
A few answers to that one. So if you're thinking about us, so first of all, we don't store any of your emails. This is another unique aspect. So a lot of other email encryption companies take a copy of your email, paste it into the cloud for the recipient to read. We don't do any of this. All we're doing is we're taking your email on a nice, secure journey and delivering it at points of entry. But storage-wise, the only thing that's going to happen with your storage when you use our services is you're just going to get those receipts. But you'll only be using this a few times a day. So it's not huge. And also, that shouldn't be an issue. So I hope that answers that one.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think I've kept up with the chat box over the last few minutes, because great to see that a number of questions have come through. I'm just sort of scrolling back up to see if I've picked everything up. How many emails? Pricing was the big one after you'd finished. Sort of renewal, licenses, respondees. Yeah. No, I think at the moment, Mike, that's covered everything. Thank you very much indeed.
Right.
I suppose I should say to everybody, are there any further questions or observations, comments, Mike?
And the best place to find me, I suppose, if anyone does have any more questions, is just find me on LinkedIn. Just look for Mike Roberts. You'll see me there. And yeah, happy to connect and get feedback from anybody as well.
Okay, all right, Mike. Thank you. I'm just bear with me, everybody. I just want to share, if I can, a couple of slides that detail some up and coming further CPD that we're running in the coming weeks. And I'll tell you why I am going to do this is because I met a number of members yesterday in Manchester. And people were asking me about CPD. Now, for some reason, the full screen isn't showing, but I hope, can people see my slides? Maybe not in the best way possible, but I hope you can. Here we go. Let me come through to this. So, just in terms of up and coming webinars, what is available for you? A number of webinars over the coming days and weeks. The one tomorrow about building a sustainable community by focusing on net zero initiatives. If you've registered for that, just please be aware that that's actually being run by our international representative in Dubai. So the start time in the UK or in Dubai is shown on the website, but please just make sure that you've actually clocked the start time of that particular webinar. The Mastering Cash Flow Clarity, can't spit my words out, that's UK. Again, the next one on the list is a Bangladesh-based webinar. There's a lot that's gone on in Bangladesh of late with reference to taxation and legal requirements. So that is very much a Bangladesh-led and focused webinar. So if you have registered for that and you don't have any dealings with clients or individuals in Bangladesh, it might not be something for you. So please just be aware of that. Access to business finance in a challenging economy. Again, that's a UK-based one, as is how can accounts payable automation help SMEs survive. The Institute's technical manager, Matt Barton, is running a session on costing and pricing next Friday, the 29th. If I click on to the next slide. AML Matters. I know a number of you over the last sort of 12 months have attended a number of the Tim Pinkney and the AML review team led webinars, and the feedback has been extremely positive. So 4th of October, 1st of November, how to create policies and procedures and how to conduct a risk assessment. That's both for your firm, your practice, and or for your clients. Payroll webinars back by demand. We're covering on the 5th of October, CIS, gig workers and 0 hours contracts. And on the 9th of November, pension auto enrollment refresher, SMP and SSP and salary sacrifice. Two of our regional ambassadors, Bill McGregor and Duncan Walker, are involved in a webinar on the 18th of October, all about moving a practice purely from compliance to getting that mixture between compliance and advisory services, and they sharing their insight. Apologies for the next one. I've got it down, or it's underneath the main heading of CPD and webinars. Starting out in practice is actually a face-to-face all-day seminar at the Institute's offices in London. For anybody on the call who's in business thinking about making that transition to starting a practice, anybody who might be under 5 years in practice and is thinking about how do I develop, how do I grow, am I doing everything correctly, some AML coverage, some regulatory sort of requirements, well worth looking at that on the website and potentially registering if you can travel to and if you're in and around the London area. I think for the third time, we're running an IFA International Conference online on the 9th of November. What are we covering? Automation and technology, outsourcing, fraud, diversity and inclusion. And we're also looking at sort of AML, money laundering from an international perspective. All 5 topics relevant for an international membership and an audience. So, please be aware of that when you're looking at the website. we do have, I mentioned right at the beginning, sort of first webinar since the school summer holiday. Our face-to-face regional meetings come back as well. They've already started. We held a meeting before Accountancy in the Northwest on Monday evening. But Scotland, if you're in Edinburgh, there's a Scottish meeting this evening. There's another one in Glasgow in November. Northern Ireland this Thursday in Antrim and on the 16th of November. Southwest of England and Wales at the Bristol Golf Club next Tuesday. Eastern England is the 9th of October. London is the 11th of October and the Midlands is the 17th of October. Very much trying to get every region to hold at least 2 face-to-face meetings between now and the end of the calendar year. Maybe just a request, if I can, on behalf of the members who do attend, on behalf of the guests and the IFA team who attend, please, if you register for a face-to-face meeting, please attend. There seems to be a trend to register and then not to attend, but not actually to make an apology for not attending. I don't think we do it in our personal lives. I don't think we do it if we had a client or a meeting with a colleague. Please want to see people at these face-to-face events because, again, the feedback is always positive. But please, if you register, do make the effort to attend. If you can't, and we appreciate things happen, kindly drop the events team through an email to say that you're unable to attend. But that's what's coming up over the next sort of month and a half, quite a lot. For those of you who are looking at your CPD hours and you're wondering how you're going to get to 40 by the 31st of December, I think there's a lot on the previous 3 slides that would allow and help you do that. There will be other things added from a CPD webinar and face-to-face perspective that will also help you achieve your CPD requirements. So just really to keep everybody up to date, and maybe the website address is the best sort of place to ask you to go. There's a specific CPD page. Everything is in date order. Click on each of the links. It gives you much more information, and there is always the add to cart register button. So I'm hopeful. I believe it's straightforward. Any feedback is always welcome. So please, of course, do let us know. I'm going to go back to the chat just to see if there's anything that I need to ask Mike about. Where are we? So, Mike, thank you. Really useful session. Many thanks. Many thanks. Just looking through these. Many thanks, Mike. A good session. Much appreciated. So, look, Mike, on behalf of all of those members and non-members who've attended this afternoon and on behalf of the Institute, thank you for your time and for the presentation. As I say, we will share the recording. And we will share your contact details as well. So it's much appreciated. I don't know if there's a final word that you want to say, Mike, to all of those who've been with us this afternoon.
No, just thanks to everyone that's attended. I hope it was useful, and yeah, really looking forward to meeting and chatting with more of you over the next few weeks.
Brilliant. Okay, lovely. Look, Mike, thank you to everybody who's joined us. Thank you for doing so. We look forward to seeing you on future webinars and at face-to-face events. Any queries, any questions, my email address is jonathanb@ifa.org.uk, jonathanb@ifa.org.uk, or please email the events team, events@ifa.org.uk. We're very much here to help when it comes to, well, all matters, but we're talking about CPD this afternoon. So please, events at or Jonathan B at. Thank you. Have good afternoons all. And look, we very much look forward to seeing you again soon. Mike, have a good afternoon and we'll be in touch. Thanks all.
Bye-bye.